Game 3 of the NBA Finals getting underway 8:30 Eastern on Wednesday. The series shifting to Indiana, where the building is going to be bonkers. Ben Mathurin and the Pacers bench, they have been critical to their team's success throughout the season and throughout the playoffs, but were outplayed in Game 2 when you look at the numbers by OKC's non-starters. Going to have to flip the script for Indiana in Game 3. Dennis Scott also on location in Indiana, and moments ago caught up with Aaron Nesmith.
3, 2, 1. All right, guys, here with Double A. As you and I were just talking, let's go back to draft night. Talking to Jerry Stackhouse, he said you were the best shooter he had ever seen coming out of college. Then you get off to a slow start. How are you telling people now how you can really shoot here in the finals?
I mean, it's just confidence in shooting. Like, it's something I know. I've always been a great shooter my whole life. I knew what I'm capable of. It's just really just having the opportunity to showcase what I'm capable of doing.
Mm-hmm. In that Knicks series, though, I know a lot of people talk about, take our fans through how you felt and how your team kept feeding you in that fourth quarter and overtime.
It's funny. I didn't really realize what I was doing in the moment. When you're playing, it's just, you're just trying to win the ball game. So I'm doing what's necessary to win the game. And shots were going in. And at that point, I was seeking them, finding. My teammates did a good job of finding me. I just let them fly.
Defensively, Brunson, SGA, a little bit of Dame. Like, each series you had to guard the best offensive guy on the wing. How does that competitive spirit come out every night?
It's an interesting challenge, and I like it just because it's something new every night. Guarding these guys are so good, and you just making life hard on them, and I enjoy making their life hard. Like, we got to make them work.
When you look at your two teams, you're kind of built the same, but differently because they went through the draft, you guys through free agency. But now in Game 4, what is the biggest thing you think you need to do to get a win?
Get off to a good start, play our game, worry about us, and block out all the excess noise.
And last one for you, ball movement was a key. Talking to Miles a few minutes ago, how big is that you guys to get good ball movement to open threes for everyone else as well?
It's good. We lead the league in passes per game, and we got to make sure we stay high on that, making sure that we're moving the ball, getting in the paint, and once again, playing our game and letting them fly.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, when you look at Aaron Nesmith, as far as the numbers, your highest three-point percentage by a player with 50-plus threes in a playoff run, that's some pretty good company right there, GA.
Yeah, it's some great company. And it also, listen, these guys are all great shooters. The only one on that list, Ray Allen, is a guy that would be considered a first option caliber player.
Right.
But at the stage where he did that, he wasn't a first option. So it does speak to how well those teams function, because a lot of his shots are going to be created for him. He's not getting a lot of shots off the dribble for the three. But, boy, has he been really good, and also his ability to defend it. He has been a breath of fresh air for this Pacers team. And I really feel like this is a guy whose best basketball is still in front of him.
Yeah, he just seems like a confident young man. And you heard him talking to 3D there. And we know him for his defense. But, again, with that offense starting to flourish, I mean, he could be an incredible player down the line for them. He's already so important.
Yeah, no question about it. And you're starting to see the growth, right? The shooting of the basketball was the strength of his coming out of college. Jerry Stackhouse coached him at Vanderbilt and talked about that. There's no question. He got off to a little bit of a slow start, but that transition from college to the NBA, sometimes that can be the case. But once he figured that aspect out, got his rhythm there, he's really exploded defensively and really bought into taking the pride on that side of the ball. He can guard multiple positions. He's also improved with making plays off the dribble. And I think that's something that you'll see continue to develop in his game. And that's one of the reasons why, if you're a Pacers fan, you got to be excited, not just about the future, but the prospects of this series, because he's going to have to play at a high level ultimately if you want to win it.
Yeah, just so mentally tough, physically tough for this Pacers team. I want to go back to Pascal Siakam. We heard him a few moments ago. I mean, he is so vital for this team. He went 3 for 11 in Game 2. Obviously, his numbers so far in the finals haven't been great. But, man, is he ever an important player for them?
Yeah, and I think sometimes the numbers don't always tell the story, because he got to the free throw line 9 times. They just were outclassed in Game 2, and that's going to happen. It's not like they lost to chopped liver. The OKC Thunder won 68 games this year. I didn't expect that the Pacers would sweep them. So you knew that they were going to have some adjustments, and they're going to be nights where they just outperform. But if you're Pascal Siakam, I think they have a formula for him to have success.
Right.
And his ability to post is going to be vital for them. His ability to create off the dribble also, he's terrific at that. And so I think you're going to have him elevate. Like, a lot of talk about Tyrese Halliburton, and, he needs to score more. the guy that I think that has to have more of an offensive impact in terms of scoring is going to be Siakam. He's the guy that is a little more comfortable as a score-first guy, and I think he's someone that can really give the rest of their group some confidence, and it allows Halliburton to kind of still play his same game. Because you talked about he hadn't scored a ton of points, Halliburton, but they won when he didn't score a lot.
Right.
But they need Siakam to step up.
And he's got that championship experience, right? So you know he's not going to be rattled in a situation like this. His team tied up at 1. Miles Turner, another important piece here. As we see him out there, we got more coming up here on NBA TV, including that man. Yeah, Miles Turner, when he gets to the podium, we will take you there. And then we're going to shift our attention to the Thunder ahead of Game 3. Indiana have been doing it by committee throughout these playoffs. 6 players averaging double figures, an extremely balanced attack. Obi Toppin, a big part of that arsenal. He's now at the podium.
Just knowing what's at stake. Obviously getting that ring, but we have great coaches, great players around us who keep us grounded, keep us level-headed, and just make sure we're staying on track with everything.
At the half, you were down by 15.
Yeah.
You came out in the third quarter. Do you think it's going to happen again? What was the conversation
in the second game? I mean, we knew the mistakes that we had. We knew we had to come out with more energy. And yeah, like we just looked over the mistakes and hope to get better in the second half. Yep. We just super resilient. Like I said, we got best coaches, best players on our team, and I feel like everybody keeps each other, holds everybody accountable for everything they do wrong on the court, and we just get better from it and move on. Yeah. What are some of the challenges that come up with trying to push stuff when they go small? We just try to stick to our offense. We know what we got to do. We don't try to headhunt anybody. We just try to move with the flow of our offense. So.
All right, from Obi Toppin, we check in with Andrew Nembhard.
A crazy crowd, jumping out of their seat, having fun, enjoying the moment.
What does this home court do for you guys?
There's a lot, it's like our 6-man, brings us energy, keeps us together. It's going to be exciting.
What does OKC do that makes it so difficult for you guys to get in the paint and have 0 paint points in that first quarter last game?
Yeah, I think they have individually really good defenders. They switch, they're versatile, they're long, athletic. They do a good job being physical. We gotta combat that with being more aggressive.
What is the challenge to getting them disconnected defensively? Because they seem to have 5 guys connected pretty well right now.
It's us being connected, us being aggressive, us being the one that's the driving force on that side of the court.
Their ability to kind of impact screening, like what's the challenge in terms of being able to set a good screen and make sure that it has the intended effect?
Setting it up and being strong with holding the screen, I think, is the biggest thing when you're coming into that interaction.
Drew, Aaron, or Josh won a big award. I'm curious, can you just speak about what Josh and that entire training staff has meant to you and this team?
Oh yeah, no, they've been great for us, keeping our bodies right and also just having a good vibe. Every day it's not easy walking in and working every day. They have less days off than us, so they bring a great energy and they're essential to our success.
What does basketball mean in Indiana?
Basketball grows in Indiana. That's what they say, right? Needs more.
So if you had to explain to a foreign audience, who's not so familiar with it, like how does it manifest in high school, college, everywhere?
How does it manifest in high school, college, here?
Everywhere, for all levels, all types of, all backgrounds, people, families.
Sorry, say that again?
How does, basketball manifest itself in this state?
Man, I think it's just a long history of loving the game. People enjoy our team's success because we play together, we have fun, and we win games. So I think it just manifests from the love of the game.
And being a pacer player, when you...
Check this out right here. You got to frame that. Miles Turner.
In the finals? No less.
Man. On Isaiah Hartenstein right there. The lighting perfect. That thing's got to go up in some kind of rec room right there. Or man cave. And I'm sure Turner would want to do that after the series is over, after he gets a potential championship. You know, you look at what the Pacers have done through 2 games, and again, I said it off the top, they kind of still feel pretty good about where they're at right now, considering they haven't really put it together for 48 minutes.
Yeah, well, and the reality is they may not. Like you when you're playing an elite level team, oftentimes they're not going to just allow you to do all the things you want to do at a high level. So you have to do like they did in game 1. You have to find ways to win. And in that game, they were able, even though they turned it over a ton, they dominated the backboard, right? And they did a great job with their transition defense to not give up a ton of points off the turnovers. And so that allowed them ultimately to come back and win that game. And that's how you have to approach it. Like, you know, we may not be able to get 30 fast break points in a game, you know, but we can still come up with ways that will give us a chance. And I think defensively also, you heard this talked about earlier, they've got to do a better job there. That's where I think they really struggled in game 2. They couldn't get stops. And then if they can't get stops, it's harder to get the running game going. Yeah, they're going to try to play fast after makes, but it can be demoralizing when you're not getting those stops, not getting out in transition, and getting the momentum plays that we've grown accustomed to seeing them make in the postseason.
Right, the momentum plays plus the home crowd. I mean, that really makes a difference. Again, Indiana has not lost consecutive games at home, or I should say consecutive games at all, since March 10th. So they've been really good after a loss, 8-0 during that span. All right, next up, we're going to hear from the OKC side of things. That man right there, Chet Holmgren, coming to the podium.